or is anybody sitting in these seats? Cool. A couple seats here, guys, if you guys want to sit. Well, we have a few over here on the side. Did you hit the button? Is it going? Oh, good. Oh, okay. Excellent. Hey, everybody. All right, I think we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Open Government Hack Night. This is episode 126. We have done this 125 times already. So this time we're going to get it right, I swear. So if you haven't been here before, this is Chicago's weekly event for building and sharing and learning about open data and civic technology in Chicago. We meet every Tuesday in this room at 6 o'clock and do exactly that. Tonight we have a really awesome presentation about the redesign of the Chicago Public Schools website. Have you guys seen this thing? Yeah? Pretty good? Thumbs up? Yeah? Save your criticism for the Q&A section. Okay. But before we get to that presentation, we like to kind of go around the room and everybody introduce themselves, just so we all know who each other are. And then after that, we have an open floor for announcements. If you have projects you'd like to share or events you'd like to share that are OpenGov, civic tech related. We also have become like a place for people to say, hey, we have a job opening at our organization, or I'm looking for a job. So that's also cool too. You can include the I'm looking for a job thing in your intro as well. Before we get into the around the room, show of hands, how many of you is this your very first OpenGov Hack Night? Well, a round of applause for the new folks. Excellent. We have a plan for you. Christopher has a plan for you. It'll be great. You will really enjoy it. So I think we'll start with the introductions then, unless, did I miss anything?
Note about the restrooms.
Oh yeah, great. Thank you.
The 1871 is currently doubling in size, which is good because we need the room. But right now they're revamping the restrooms. So the closest restrooms are right below. So if you walk out, there'll be a stairway right there. Go down. Men's and women's restrooms are right there. Code is on the board. Once they close the building, or once they close the entryway, they'll have large metal keys that say 1871 on them that you can use to get back in and out.
Yep. And I think that'll happen later, like at 9 o'clock or something like that, because there's another event in the auditorium, so that shouldn't happen. But yeah, so thanks for covering that. So I think we'll get right into the introductions then. So I'll start. I'm Derek Eater. I'm with DataMade and OpenCity. I like to make stuff with open data. I'll stop.
My name is Christopher Whitaker. I'm a civic technology consultant here in Chicago and also the local Code for America Brigade Captain. I want to send a special shout out to the Brigade Captains from Rhode Island, Ann Arbor.
Oh, hey, welcome. Travel far and wide. All right.
Go this way.
Hey, my name's Ben. I'm a web developer, PHP and JavaScript primarily. I like coding and Chicago and free pizza. So here I am.
I'm Adam. I work at Chicago Public Schools as a GIS and demographic analyst.
I'm Matt Rio. I work at Chicago Public Schools as a web designer.
Ted Angie, Chicago Public Schools, web development.
My name is Nick Nader. I'm a senior researcher at Chapin Hall at the University of Chicago. I do work in child and family welfare policy, including using a lot of CPS data.
My name is Scott Green, and I do digital marketing. I've been here one other time, but never really discovered something yet.
I'm Tara Gupta. I'm a program and policy manager for the Chicago City Treasurer's Office.
Hi, I'm Nikhil. I work at Mathematica Policy Research doing programming and data analysis.
My name is Eileen, and I'm a paralegal at the Legal Assistance Foundation of Metropolitan Chicago.
I'm Nick, and I'm a designer at North Dakota University.
I'm Matt Sweeney. I support programs and research at UIC's Institute for Policy and Civic Communication.
I'm Laura. I'm doing a master's in CS at the University of Chicago.
I'm Dave Johnson. I'm a system engineer with Trustweb for compliance and information security, and I'm also one of the co-captains for Code Island, the Rhode Island Code for America Monitor, and glad to meet you.
I'm Ed Gilmetti. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Part of the A2 Civic Tech group there. One of our projects is ArborWiki, which is a local wiki for that area. And I've been working with the local wiki project on local wikis around the Midwest, including for Chicago and for Toledo, Ohio, and Marquette, Michigan, and wherever I'm interested in.
David Melton, I'm Executive Director for the Illinois Campaign for Political Reform. We have a campaign finance database, and we're interested in public policy.
I'm Mike Hartnett. I'm one of the publishers at New City Magazine.
Hi, I'm Steve, and I do GIS for the city of Gary.
I'm Nathan. I'm a software engineer at Redesign.
Hey folks, my name is Renzo Mejia. I am the program manager for the Victim Legal Assistance Network at Metropolitan Family Services.
Hey everyone, my name is Rosa Frier, and I'm the co-founder of Emily, and it is a software application that helps people in Chicago see if they qualify for social service benefits.
Hi, I'm Genevieve. I work on Emily for Bills.
I'm Nate. My background's in urban planning and community development, and also looking for a job. Interested in biking and housing and education issues.
My name is Josh Kalov. I work with Cook County government to help them release open data, and I'm also a co-leader of the education breakout group.
My name is Cameron. I'm a current student. I'm a Europe student, a current student at Europe, and I also major in IT.
I'm Kristen Andrews. I'm also a current student at Europe, and I also major in IT.
My name is Stephon. I'm also a current student at Europe, Chicago, Class 9. I came here with my fellow students to support each other. I'm interested in network security.
I'm Precious Blackwell. I'm also a student at Europe, and I have an interest in education and youth development.
My name is Renee. I'm a translator and topic facilitator for the Code 101 breakout group.
My name is Brendan, and I'm a business assistant.
Hi, I'm Jay from Chicago Public Schools.
Okay, hi, I'm Lisa. I'm a school professional studies information systems major at Northwestern University.
Steve Edgar, I'm database administrator at Latin School, and I live at Institute of Cultural Affairs Green Rise Learning Laboratory, and I'm interested in community and building it and sustaining it and in sustainability in general.
Hi, my name is Justin. I'm a student at the University of Chicago, and I'm a JavaScript developer.
I'm Steve. I'm a web content and design guy, and I have a bunch of school report card projects in my background.
I'm Ben Gillespie. I'm a Java architect for the STA group. Very interested in data, the cooperative business model, and I'm the co-facilitator in Illinois pension reform, working with here.
I'm Maliki Tobin. I'm a software developer. I like to build stuff. Helpful if it's useful.
Hi guys, my name is Jose Gutierrez, and I am the least talented person in the room here. No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, I was interested in learning more about coding in general and like programming and all that stuff, so I'm excited to hear what you kind of ideas are coming from everybody here.
Similarly, I'm a Europe student as well, and I'm just here to find out what piques my interest and I major in business.
My name is Nick Torres. I'm also a Europe student as well. Actually, I'm curious in getting into network security and studying cryptography.
Well, my name is Amar Julian. I'm also a Europe student. I'm interested in coding.
I'm Lynn Garnett, and I teach math at Auburn School.
I'm GT Roble. I'm a computer science teacher at Latin School, and I am a master's student in computer science.
I'm Jason Trish. I'm a school partnership specialist, and I do some web development and data management for communities in schools in Chicago.
I'm Sarah Hart, and I'm a development associate at Illinois UVA Online.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a software developer. I'm interested in urban sustainability issues, especially water issues. I facilitate the environmental breakout group, and I'm also interested in the Royals winning the World Series. Still
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm with Forward.us. I'm interested in coding and open data.
I'm Nina Sandlin. I'm with an Obamacare outfit in Chicago, Illinois Health Matters, and I just have to ask, if you get good cell phone service here in this room, please find a moment to tell me afterwards who your provider is.
David, I'm a software developer at eShots.
Kelly, I'm a project manager at America.
I'm Fran. I have a background in urban planning, but currently I dabble in front-end web development, and I'm a mobile technician at the Apple Store.
I'm Craig. I'm a program management consultant at Dell. I'm also a student studying database management and web application.
Rachel, I'm currently working on learning Swift.
Chris Hagan, I'm a data reporter at WBEZ.
My name is Tom Shank. I'm the Chief Data Officer for the City of Chicago.
All right, is that everybody? Great. Well, awesome. Diverse group. By the way, you guys, how'd you hear about the HackNet? There's like 5 or 6 of you guys from Europe School. How'd you guys hear about it?
Personally, we heard about the hacking through.
We heard it through Brenna Berman.
Brenna Berman. All right. He's the CIO for the city. All right. That's awesome. Well, welcome. And welcome to all the rest of you guys who are here for the first time. Moving on in the agenda to announcements. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share with this very distinguished and awesome group of people? Nothing? Oh, of course, this guy.
So, Code for America is hiring an engineer and data specialist. Code for America is a nonprofit organization that leverages the power of technology to help our cities. And right now they're looking for an engineer. They're a very awesome group to work for. So if you're interested, you can go to codeforamerica.org/jobs.
And you have to move to San Francisco, apparently.
There's somewhere
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Cool. Any other announcements? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jay from CPS, and we also have a job opening. So you'll see some of our work here, and you'll meet some of the team. But we are looking for a web producer, someone with some HTML skills, some graphic design skills, maybe some content strategy skills. So if you're interested, let us know.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Other announcements? Okay, great. And just as a note, you guys may have, for new folks, you may have noticed that some people identify themselves as the topic facilitators for particular groups. We have those groups listed out on the board up here, and then after the presentation, we'll go through those groups again. The idea behind that is these different groups have a particular focus, and it's topic oriented. So if you are interested in education or transportation or the environment or any of the things that the folks mentioned, those are sort of the places for you to go and sort of get hooked into the different projects. So let's get into the presentation. I'll tee this up just a little bit. So I think this is actually not these guys' first time at the OpenGov Hack Night as presenters. The last time was, I want to say, 1.5 years ago when you had just launched the map, the new Chicago Public Schools locator. I don't know, is this part of your talk? Or?
No.
Okay, great.
No.
So it's really great. We got connected to these guys through a person named Alex Sobel, who is the former, I believe, social media director for CPS.
Yes.
And he saw some of the cool work that was coming out of his community, reached out to me and said, hey, we want to make a map for local school council elections. And then that sort of whole conversation with these guys and eventually led to a complete overhaul of their map for finding Chicago, for looking up what Chicago Public School your kid can go to. So these guys have done some really cool stuff at CPS. I'm really happy to see that they've continued that work and are continuing to broaden the kind of things that they're working on. So one thread that is common in not just the Chicago scene, but I guess nationally in the OpenGov scene is the topic of procurement, which is kind of a boring topic and one that a lot of people like to talk about. I've talked about it a little bit before. It's basically governments and municipalities spending money on vendors to purchase technology is the thread that we're talking about, and how there's some problems with that. That's kind of boring. You know what's way cooler is to talk about the awesome work that people inside these organizations, these institutions, can do without having to hire outside help. So I am very happy to turn it over to these guys. So Jay and Ted, thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Before I start, I just wanted to introduce my team. So Ted Kanji, if you can stand real quick and just wave. So Ted, and then Matt Reel next to him. So these are the guys that kind of put together what we're going to talk about today. There's a few other folks involved as well, but this is really the core group. And like Derek said, about a year and a half ago, we built out our new school locator using Google Maps based on some code that Derek actually wrote, some open source code, and we really liked the idea, and he really kind of helped us, kind of inspired us really to do something a little bit more than what we thought we could do. And we launched our school locator. We presented it to this group. We got a lot of great feedback from the group on how to make it better. And we actually implemented some of those design changes right before we launched it. So we kind of gave them a preview. And today, you know, we're very open to your feedback and suggestions. What you see today is a work in progress. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than where it was a year ago. And we'd love to hear how we can make it even better. So just let us know. We're very open to that. So I have some slides that I'm going to go through, and I have my notes on my phone. So if I'm looking at my device, I'm not checking Twitter. So just bear with me. So let's just do this. So we're going to cover a few things today. So we'll talk about cps.edu, the history of our website, our web presence in the organization. We'll highlight some of the new features of the site. We'll go through some stats. We'll talk about some project highlights, and then we'll talk about what we're focused on next. I'm going to try to keep it to about 10 minutes and give you guys a chance to ask questions. This is some screenshots of basically our website evolving since 2000. So back in 2000, we had our first website that was built on a content management system. And we had, this was the design, this is what it looked like. In 2008, we did another redesign of our website. We implemented a content management system and really focused on improving the nav, focusing on key stories, and making information accessible by different groups such as parents, students, and community. And then in 2014, in August, we launched our mobile device friendly website, cps.edu mobile. This is what it looks like today. If you haven't seen it on your mobile device, check it out. We think it's pretty cool. A lot of the inspiration for us going mobile also came from this group. So one of the things we learned a year and a half ago was about Twitter Bootstrap. And some of the technology that we use to build this site today is based on Twitter Bootstrap. We're very much interested in open source and leveraging software that exists today and not spending money. We don't have a lot of money to spend at CPS. So we're always looking for ways to do cool stuff without having to invest in software. So I'm just going to breeze through these because you kind of got an idea. One of the other things that Derek touched on was basically this idea of spending money to build software. And back in 2008, when we redesigned the website, I was an employee back then. I was involved in that project. We basically hired a company to come in and rebrand our site and develop it. And we partnered with offshore consultants in India to build that design. And it was very expensive. It was like a $500,000 investment. And there was a lot of challenges around getting that done. This latest redesign we did in-house. We didn't spend any money. We basically worked with the team that we had, and we did it kind of as a side project. We didn't really have, we kind of were doing it under the radar actually, which was kind of cool because it's a little bit challenging to get buy-in. But once we actually kind of proved what we could do, and we did things in small segments to kind of build up the support. So essentially what we did was we kind of did some proof of concepts within the organization to try things out that were build smaller mobile device friendly websites. We built our skills around doing things, creating responsive design, using Twitter Bootstrap, things like that. And then once we kind of felt comfortable, we decided to take the plunge and do it on our main website. At the time was about 3,000 web pages. Part of the upgrade was actually to scale that back. We just had so much garbage out there. We had stuff that was just not relevant, that people didn't trust, hadn't been updated in years. And so another part of this project, which is really behind the scenes, was to clean up the content and to establish web governance in the organization and to get departments who actually own the content and know about the information, that know it best, to update it and maintain it over time. So it's one thing to launch a new website and make it all shiny and great. It's another thing to maintain it over time. And so part of what we've done as well is make sure that we can sustain this going forward, to make sure that departments are contributing and updating, refreshing their content every 30 to 60 days, to identify individuals throughout the organization that we can work with, that we can teach how to maintain a good web presence, and to kind of keep the momentum going. So those are some of the things you probably won't hear about, and you won't see that on our site, but I think I'm really proud of what the team did and kind of where the organization's going, and so I'm just kind of excited to share that. So one of the other things we did is we redesigned our logo as well as redesigned the website. One of the cool things about the logo is it was developed by students. So about 6 months ago, they had a contest to basically create a new CPS logo, and they went out to a lot of elementary and high schools and had students draw concept designs for the logo. They ended up choosing 2 designs from 2 different students and merging them together to kind of come up with this new logo. I don't know if you remember our old logo. It was basically a rectangular, very simple CPS. So this one is a little bit more friendly, and we're kind of excited to tell that story too. So, so our device now works on mobile devices, which is pretty cool. One of the things we noticed about a year ago was that about 30% of our web traffic was coming in through mobile devices. So we have Google Analytics tracking our website, and we're monitoring the usage, and we noticed that a lot of people are using devices, iPhones, tablets. And so we thought, well, that's a third of our population, and that number is going to continue to climb over time. Like that number is not going to go down, right? More and more people are using these devices to find information. And so we wanted to basically build a site or unlock our information to make it available to people when they need it, where they need it, whenever they need it. And if you think about parents, really our website is geared towards giving information to parents. A lot of parents are using their devices to find out what's for lunch tomorrow for their students, what after school programs are available. Maybe they're doing it in the parking lot while they're waiting for their son to come out from school, or maybe they're doing it on the train on their commute home. Most of them are not doing it at a desktop PC anymore. And so we thought it was really important to be able to support their needs when they need it, where they need it, and that's another reason why we pushed really hard to make sure that the site worked on all these different devices. So we launched August 21st. There's a few stories about it, which is kind of cool. It's not every day the media actually features your website. We want to give you a quick demo. I'm going to kind of get through it real quick, through the rest of the slides, and then we'll give a demo, and then we'll open it up for questions. In terms of site usage, we've had about over 1 million page views, so we're getting a lot of traffic. Half of our traffic is new visitors, and the other half is returning visitors. We kind of want to see that number kind of move, and we want to see a lot more people start returning to our site. So I mean, just some stats for you guys. These are the last 30 days. We also have real-time stats, which is kind of cool, so we can see when stories are published, who's looking at what, and we can kind of rank our pages. In terms of the content flow, what we've done is we've established a new role within the organization called a web content author, and we've identified 2 people in each department to assume that role, and they're responsible for contributing and maintaining the content for their subject matter areas, and then they work with the communications team to basically publish that information. Once it's reviewed and communications team is fine with it, it comes to the web team. That's our team here, and we actually build out the pages and publish them on the site. So that's the model we've set up, and that's basically our web governance model. Another key feature that we've had on our site is for those of you who have used our old version of the site, you may have noticed it's really hard to find stuff. We've improved our search, so we've basically built Google search into our site now, and we're indexing all our content through Google. And we found that it's a lot easier and more reliable to find what you're looking for on the site. And then we made it mobile device friendly using Twitter Bootstrap. I mentioned that before. One of the other cool things we did was we launched the site with 0 downtime. So we essentially didn't have to shut our site down to make the flip. We did it one Thursday night. We were just kind of, there was the 3 of us. We were all set and ready to go, and we kind of made the switch, and we were watching in real time Google Analytics to see how many users were on the site. We had about 400 at the time. So they got a nice little surprise, like when they refreshed their page, all of a sudden, whoa, what happened? So that was kind of cool, and we didn't think we'd be able to do that. That kind of came late in the game. We were expecting at least like a few hour outage or whatever, but we were able to build the site in a way that we didn't have to have any downtime. So that's kind of cool. What's going on next? So some other things that we're doing is we're upgrading our backend. So our site is built on SharePoint. You might not know that if you looked at it, but that's our content management system. Is it the perfect content management system? Probably not. If we had to do it all over again, would we choose it? Maybe not. But that's what we had. And we didn't want to spend any more money investing in a new one. And we also didn't really have the right open source CMS. And we didn't want to introduce new risks. So we ended up staying with what we had. And now we're going to upgrade. So we're doing that. We also want to bring in a number of other websites. So our web strategy really is to consolidate all of our information into one place, which is our CPS.edu website. Today we have a number of departments who have spun off their own website, kind of on their own. They've hired a company to come in and like develop content, and they're hosting it externally from our current site. And from our perspective, that just makes it really hard for our users to find what they need. So imagine you're doing a Google search and you might end up on this site over here and it looks totally different. And then you go to another CPS site and it's over here and it's a different URL and it looks different. We're trying to bring all of those things into alignment, and it's really hard. But now that we've established that web content author role and we have monthly meetings with the departments, we're basically getting them to contribute and kind of bring that knowledge that's spread all over the organization and spread all over the internet kind of into one model, and giving our community and our parents a single starting point to find all information CPS. If you think about a big brand like Coke or something, Coke doesn't have 10 different websites with 10 different looks and feels, right? So we're kind of looking to change that model. And then we're here showing you what we have, but we know it's not perfect, and we really would love for you guys to suggest if you have ideas to make it even better. Let us know. We're very open. We are always willing to look at new ideas, and we want to make this the best it can be for the city of Chicago and for our parents. And I know you guys all have great ideas, so feel free to share with us. So before I get into questions, I'm just going to do a real quick demo and show you some of the key features, and then we can open it up. All right. All right, so one of the things we wanted to do with our homepage was highlight the search capabilities that we've invested in. Google, essentially, most of our users were using Google to find stuff anyway. So for us, it made a lot of sense for us to just use Google, because we noticed that most people were doing that anyway. We also really like some of the features that are built in. So the nice thing about Google is you've got autocomplete features, and then you also have this idea of highlighting some favorites. So now what we're finding is people can find what they're looking for just a lot easier. A lot of people weren't using our search before, so we made it right in your face, front and center. We kind of took the Google approach and said, like, here's our search, use it. And we've noticed a pretty big uptick in the usage there. Another thing we did was tag our content on our site in a number of different ways. One way we did it was by age group. So imagine you're a parent and you have a child who's about to enter kindergarten. So now what we did was we've tagged all the content related to that age group and made it easily accessible from our website. So we don't make a parent have to navigate and search and hunt and peck for that content. Now we've made it really easy to find by doing that. So, you know, if you're entering kindergarten, we can find out about eating healthy at school, maybe some tips for the grade levels, what are the health requirements, things like that. Maybe you have another child who's entering high school and you need to know what you need to know to get ready for high school. So we've got that as well. Some of the other tags that we have, or what we call topics, are listed here. So we've got a number of topics that we've tagged our content by. We also have it by audience. So we have content specific to the community, specific to families, specific to staff and students. And then I already talked about the grade levels. So those are some cool features. And then basically what we tried to do is make the best content the focus. So like I said before, when we had 3,000 pages, it's really hard to sift through all that and find the good stuff. So what we did was we made the good stuff easy to find and the bad stuff hard to find. You can still find it. There's still some pages out there that are old, but we've got an alert on the top of the page, very much like Wikipedia does. When you go to a page that's out of date, it'll tell you at the top, so you'll know what you're getting into. There are still departments that have not updated their content. We're working with them to get them to update their content, but not everybody's on board yet. So if you're navigating their site and you see that, you'll know why. But really, the way we did this was we basically did a content audit of all 3,000 pages on the site, and then we developed a content priority list. So we had some focus groups, and we went out and asked parents, like, hey, what are you looking for? What's the most important thing to you that you need to find on our site? And they told us. We also used Google Analytics to see what people were looking at. And we kind of merged the two together to come up with what was a content priority list. And that's how we decided what some of these items are here on the site. So another thing that we did was we built a district calendar, which is basically a central place for all event information for the entire district, all in one place. And we distributed that editing capability out to all the departments. So now they are the ones that are contributing what events they have coming up. They don't need to work with the web team anymore. Essentially, we built them in a little interface where they key in their events and publish it, and then it's live on the site. And we don't have to do anything. A nice cool feature about this is you can subscribe to our calendar from your mobile device. So let's say there's a bad weather event tomorrow or something and school's going to be closed. If you're subscribed on our calendar and we post an event on our site, it should show up on your device automatically. So that's kind of cool. And something you can't see, but something we did for our staff was we built an apps directory. So there's tons of applications throughout the district, right? And there was really no single place to get to that stuff. And so we really like what Google did with, if you've ever been to the Google page where they've got a list of all their little apps with icons and a short description, we essentially built that for our staff so they have a single starting place to get to all the systems they need very easily. And that's what you'd see under the staff page. It's not accessible to the public, but when you're on the CPS network, you can see that. And we found that to be really helpful for people to find what they're looking for, to find links to applications that they need to use on a daily basis. I mean, those are some of the key features that we've built into the site that are new. So now I just kind of want to open it up to questions and see what you guys think. Yes?
Just as a parent, can I ask what your plan is for the parent portal, integrating that? That's obviously a place that you do a lot.
Yes. So the parent portal is a separate system outside of this. The team that owns that is not our team, but there is a team that's working on that. And they are looking to completely upgrade that, to completely redo that system. For those of you that don't know what the parent portal is, it's a place for parents to go and log in and set notifications about their child's attendance and grades and get text alerts and things like that. So it's a cool system. It's not mobile device friendly, unfortunately. And one of our strategies at the moment is to enable all of our systems to be mobile device friendly. So as they're looking to replace that system, one of our key requirements is to be mobile first, to be able to be responsive and run on any device. But that's not happening anytime soon. It definitely won't happen this school year. Yeah. Yes?
Is there any plan or to integrate all the individual school websites into HTTPS so that they're more regulated, or like, I guess on a broader scale also, how do individual schools decide when and who to update their websites?
Yes. So the first question was, yes, good, I love it. So the first question you had was, how do I find information about schools? We do have that on our site. So if you go under the schools area, we have a school locator, which is something Derek talked about, where you can search for a school by name or address. We also have the ability to search for a school by name. So we have a school profile page for every school in our district, which I'll show you one. So does anyone have a favorite school they want to highlight? Ebinger? Okay. So this is the school profile page for Ebinger. So you'll see there's contact information, there's test score information. You can look at what programs are available, what admissions requirements are there. We also have like progress reports listed by year. So these are available for every school. You'll also notice at the top that each school has a link to their own website that they manage separately on their own. And I think that's kind of where you're after, is like, the second part of your question is like, how do we get schools to update their website, and who do they decide makes updates to their website? Every school does it a little bit differently. There's not a lot of consistency. It's usually up to the school principal. Some schools have really active and robust websites. Other schools have almost nothing. It really all depends on the principal and also the technology people at the school. Sometimes parents get involved and build the web presence for the school. A good example of that would be Waters. If you know about Waters on the north side, there was a group of parents that basically got together and built out the Waters website, and it's pretty good. We've provided guidelines to the schools on how to manage a good web presence and things like that. But it's really up to the school on whether they, how well they manage their web presence. So, yes.
You mentioned that you're using SharePoint as your content management system.
Yes.
Is there anything special about SharePoint, the way it's running right now, that you wish was different? That like, are there things you simply couldn't do because SharePoint got in the way?
Yes. So SharePoint's backend to the content management system is not user friendly, meaning if you're a content person and you just want to build a page, it's somewhat challenging to use that backend to publish your content. We have a team of experts that kind of have worked out the kinks, but one of the things that's limited us using SharePoint is to distribute our content authoring out to the departments so that they can manage their own content and we don't have to be involved. SharePoint makes that too difficult to do. We could never do that very well. So one of the things we really like in a content management system, which we don't have today, is the ability to update content easily. I don't know if some of you have used WordPress or something. I mean, it's a challenge probably with every content management system out there. I don't know if there's really a good way to do it, but we're very open, and one of the other things we did with this project was we've eliminated a number of hooks that we've had or dependencies on SharePoint, so that if in fact we decide to move to a new CMS, we can do that a lot easier. So the fact that we got rid of SharePoint search and replaced it with Google search, we've eliminated our school profile data within SharePoint and moved it off to its own separate hub. We've done some things to kind of prepare ourselves for a move down the road. So we don't have plans to go just yet, but we're definitely weighing our options. Yes?
So are the pages individual HTML files with like static data, or is it like a template that's run through an API?
So the site's all dynamic, and it's all template driven. So we have a number of page layouts that we've defined, and then the data is stored, depending on what data you're looking at, stored in various databases using SQL Server.
So is SharePoint just I guess I'm unfamiliar with it. I guess I don't use it really, but is it kind of just a way to edit content, but it's not like a data store or anything?
Yeah, it's a way to basically edit content in a consistent way. So like build out pages in a consistent way. So you establish a page layout of what a page could look like, and then it's really like filling out a form. You fill in all the data points, and then it creates the page for you. Yes?
How many languages is this available in?
So the site right now is using Google Translate, which is a machine translation, which is horrible. It's not great, but that's what we could do in a short amount of time. So it supports as many languages as Google Translate supports. We know that it's not great. We know that it could be better. The challenge for us has been making the investment to buy something that supports multiple languages, and then making the investment to make sure that content is translated across those multiple languages. If you think about a web page, if you have it written in English and you want it in 3 different languages, you need to make sure that you have someone who can edit it or translate it into those 3 languages and then keep them in sync. So if a page is updated a month after it's published, you also need that translation to happen on the other pages as well. And a lot of times what happens is that gets out of sync. So you'll have the English version more up to date than the Spanish and the other language versions, Polish version or whatnot. So that is a real challenge. SharePoint's not very good at that. It's not very good at that. I know that's one of their key features that they talk about, but we haven't found that it's a model that works for us. Yes?
Yeah, could you, I mean, as long as you put so much focus on making it mobile first, could you go ahead and switch up the
Yes.
settings, show off some of the
Yes.
effects on mobile?
Yes. So yeah, there we go. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's.
And were some of those, I mean, what was the hardest thing to get working on mobile that you're pleased with now?
The hardest thing on mobile. What do you guys think?
Well, I think really the hardest thing was setting up the templates in SharePoint and making them work across all of the browsers that we need to support.
One of the biggest challenges for us as a school district is we have very old technology out in the schools. Some computers which are still running IE7, IE8 from 5-6 years ago, and I see people like curdling, like that's how we feel too. So what we've had to do is we've had to like backwards engineer parts of our site to work on those really old systems, and it wasn't great, but we've got it to work. And now there's a big push to get updated browsers out in the schools. One of the really cool things about the website is it increased the awareness of mobile devices and modern browsers, the need for them. And so now there's this big push to get browser updates across the entire district, which was something that people weren't thinking about prior to launching. So we've really increased the awareness. We kind of, I don't know, if there's some IT groups that aren't too happy with us at the moment. Kind of, you know, they're not too happy with the web team, but for us to take steps forward, we had to kind of let go of the past, and you know they're now kind of catching up. So,
were you able to capture any metrics about the sort of usability or abandonment rate of your users before the redesign versus after the redesign, since you've kind of completely changed the entire navigation flow of how you're using it?
Yes, we have that data in Google Analytics. We haven't looked at it that closely, and it's definitely something we should look at.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it looks like, but I'd love to check it out. And I think we should probably do that. Yeah. I know there's some folks in the back that have been waiting.
I guess it's kind of similar to that. I was curious if you guys have seen an increase in mobile users since the redesign, or are you just better serving the mobile users you already have?
We've seen about a 6% increase since August, so we're kind of in the 36%, 37% range now. One of the things we've noticed though is when we go to real-time stats in the evening, almost all of our traffic in the evening is mobile devices, tablets or phones. During the day, it's people that are like sitting at a computer or a big screen, and it's usually like, 60% desktop, 30, 40% mobile. So it depends on the time of day that we've noticed that where the information and where the usage changes. Yes, Josh.
So this is more for like the homepage, but the search is great for the longer term stuff, but how are you managing short term things? Like an example would be like right now the school actions guidelines, which I know someone had mentioned on Twitter that it's difficult to find, but like how are you keeping track of like those short term things that are only like a month long and making sure that those are able to be found?
Yeah, so on our homepage, we have basically this bar down here of basically current events, things that people are looking for, so like LSC elections and things like that. You mentioned school guidelines. If you just come out here and you type in school guidelines, you should be able to find it really quickly. We have a quick link that'll take you there. We don't have an icon for it on our homepage, but it is pretty easy to find if you just search for it. If you search for it, yeah. The department that is responsible for that is the one that basically decides how they market it. It's not really the web team's call to like market one versus the other. But we can certainly show people how to find it if they're looking for it.
Also, the spotlight can be used for.
Yeah, so let me show you the spotlight. So the spotlight's this like scrolling story, our carousel on the top of the page, and these are typically highlights that we want to talk about, such as application period opening and things like that. Chris?
Are you going to do any user testing for the site?
Yes, we would love to do user testing. So we did a focus group before we launched. Now we want to do some focus groups after we launched with parents and with community members to just kind of understand how they're using the site, if they're comfortable with the changes that we've made, because it's entirely different than what it was before. And we want to use that to make the site better. And kind of one of the things that's important is for us to adjust our content priority list based on the time of year and based on what our users need. And so the only way for us to know that is by asking them. So I think that's in the plans for the future. We don't have a date scheduled or anything, but we're definitely looking for feedback. For all the parents in the room, if you want to share your thoughts with us, please let us know. I'm happy to give you my email, or if you want to reach out to us that way. Yes?
So just kind of following up on that point, I don't know if it's changed since I looked, but one thing that is gone from Redesign is any way to digitally contact CPS.
Okay.
So there's no email address other than Facebook and Twitter.
So,
which, at least last I saw, is just a bunch of phone numbers.
oh, you're looking for an email address?
Yes, there's no email address or.
Yeah, So I can reach out to our communications department. This is their page. Okay. So we talked about like distributed ownership by department. They own the contact us page. They're basically the contact point. We can find out what it would take to get an email address on the site. But yeah, that's a really good observation. Yes?
Kind of along those lines, so that web content author position, what sort of experience or background do you look for in that kind of position?
For the departments that are...
Yeah, I mean, that's just sort of a role that I'm not familiar with. It seems like something we also need where I am for our SharePoint management. So what sort of person do you put in that role? Do they come from the communications? Are they just somebody on a team that...
So if we use the example of, like, say, early childhood, the early childhood office, we're looking for someone on the early childhood office who knows about all the programs available to parents and who can coordinate getting that information and putting it in a digestible format that's mobile friendly onto the website. So it's a coordination role. They don't need to know HTML. They don't need to know how to publish on the web. They just need to know how to collect the information from the subject matter experts in their department and then work with the communications team to draft it up in a way that is simple to understand and easy to publish, and that it also looks good on a mobile device. So one of the challenges has been for us with that role, and that role has been identified by the chief of each department within the organization. So they've identified 2 people across the organization that said, these are my 2 web content authors. And then what we do is we meet with them every 4 to 6 weeks and give them guidelines on how to build out their web presence, how to manage their content, how to keep it up to date, how to work with us to kind of do that. So That's basically the role in general. I don't know. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like
It's a non-technical role.
Yeah, I was gonna say for us it could probably be a part-time within a position to start in some departments, but not in all. So.
Yeah.
But non-technical.
Yeah. The other thing we ask of those people is to review their content every 30 to 60 days. And we have an alert message that goes out to them that tells them when they need to review their pages. So every page that we build basically has a person attached to it now. That wasn't the case before. And they get nagged when they don't keep their content up to date. And at some point when they pass a certain threshold, then we put up the little annoying message at the top that says this content is really out of date. Like, you may not trust this. We don't want people to get into that position, but sometimes they do. Yes, Derek.
So you mentioned earlier on in your talk about the fact that this is kind of like an under-the-radar project for a while. So I'm curious how you brought it above radar, and what was that sort of situation like? How did you say, here's a website we made, or like how did you bring that up to the powers that be?
Yes. So what we've been doing was we've been doing small bits of the site on kind of side projects and things. And then at some point we had 4 or 5 different little features that we really liked and wanted to combine. And at about that same time, which was in the spring, we had some leadership changes in the organization. And we had been kind of focused on doing this project and launching it, but we didn't really have sponsorship. As soon as that leadership change happened, the person who it came in basically said, like, what are we doing about the website? The website needs a change. And then it turned out that we had just happened to be working on this stuff. So we ended up presenting our prototype to the cabinet one morning, to Barbara, our CEO, and her 40 chiefs, and they all loved the idea. We kind of did that trick where we like resized the screen. And we heard a lot of oohs and ahs, and everyone's like, wow, this is really cool. And from that point forward, like, we had the right people supporting it. And then it was just a matter of kind of carving out the time and dedicating the time to do the rest of the work. So it was a little bit dicey for a while, and there were some points along the way that we weren't even sure if this was ever going to make it out to the public, but we knew that we were getting better at building responsive websites and kind of doing it on a smaller scale and kind of building our skills. And at the same time, we were building support within the organization to kind of get people behind us. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And in a lot of ways, the timing was right, and we were able to impress the right people at the right time, and then they basically gave us the go-ahead, and we ran with it. And we're pretty happy with where we're at, and I think they're pretty happy with it as well. I mean, one of the things, I think we're probably one of the first school districts in the country to have a mobile device-friendly website. There are some others, but they're smaller. So that's kind of cool too. Like, the race to be first was also motivation for us to get it done as quickly as we could. So, but I mentioned earlier, like, it was a side project. It wasn't our dedicated jobs. Like, we were all kind of doing this on the side. We still have our day-to-day jobs, and we have to support tons of different websites and support all the initiatives that are going on at CPS throughout the year. So it slowed us down. Like, I think if we had a dedicated team and we were dedicated to this project just by itself, we could have done it faster. We could have done it better. Like, we just didn't have that luxury. So kind of had to do it on our own.
Do you think you've kind of gotten ahead of it now that you've launched it? Like, is your life better now than it was 2 months ago? Well, maybe the day-to-day stuff, right? Is this website made your guys' jobs easier?
I think it's made it easier in some ways and harder in others, because now people see what we can do, and now everybody says, oh, we want to work with the web team, right? And that's great. But there's only a few of us, like here we are. There's a few more, but they're not here.
Take a separate
it's
bus
a
home,
small,
actually.
it's a small group. Like, it's not a big group, and we have a lot of stuff going on. So we're really excited that now there's an awareness about managing the web that wasn't a priority at CPS until we launched. So that's, I think, really cool. We're kind of setting there's a cultural shift happening. with information sharing in the organization that this kind of was the catalyst for. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that's cool. We've talked, a lot about data in the past and kind of maintaining it. CPS hasn't done a good job of that in the past, and I think we're moving in the right direction. Are we perfect? No. We've got a lot of work to do, but there's some really great people that are doing some great things, and like the fact that we're here presenting, I'm just excited to kind of tell you what we're up to, and we're continuing to do more things too. So, yeah.
Great, cool. Well, that's great. I think we can, if you guys can stick around, maybe if people want to kind of continue this conversation. But I think maybe we'll switch gears to the rest of the evening. So thanks again, Jay. This was awesome. All right, so before we all leave this room to go do the civic hacking portion of the evening, we like to kind of set the table as far as the different kinds of groups that people have sort of formed around a particular topic. So we're going to just highlight those groups so everyone can see what's available. We also, it's an open invitation. If anybody wants to start their own group, you're welcome to do so and just say, I want to work on something like this, and see who shows up. Eventually, if you kind of keep doing it and show up every week, we'll like add you to the official list. But that's just an open invitation if you have any ideas. We'll start with, I guess we'll start using this list over here. Stephen is the transportation breakout group facilitator. Stephen, you want to give us a little taste of what you're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so like a month ago, Tom Shank, who's the city's
that guy back there?
data analytics, he was right there. He said that, the speed camera information is now on the city's open data portal. So we took a look at that, and today we're actually going to do some real work with it to estimate how much money the city has collected from drivers who exceed the speed limit by 10 miles per hour or more at 150 locations.
Wow, cool.
Although not all of them have been up and running for probably a long enough period of time to do any work, but at least like 100 have been up for 6 months.
Wow. Start with one, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. So I'll be in the lobby.
Awesome. Data 101. This is actually a new group. Nick or Matt, are you guys here still?
Matt.
Hey.
Hey. So we're going to be doing a Data 101 class for anyone who needs kind of the tools, tips, and tricks for getting started with data, how to work with it, how to interpret it, etc. So we'll be meeting. Yeah, I'll have one of the tables back.
Okay. Great. Actually, we'll skip Code 101 just for a second because we're supposed to have done Civic Hacking 101 first, because that is like, if you don't know what the heck we've just been talking about for the last hour, Christopher will help you.
Hi. So if this is your first time here, if you have no idea what a GitHub account is, if you, like me, think Ruby and Python are talking about jewelry and snakes, this is the breakout for you. This occurs about 5 minutes after we break out into groups. So everyone who's not taking Civic Hacking 101, go out into the big space. And then everyone else who wants the 101 sticks around.
Cool. Awesome. So getting back to Code 101. So Renee.
Okay, so there's a third Code 101.
There's a lot of 101.
That's good. So this one's kind of, if you want an intro to becoming more techie. So if you got questions that have to do with environments and languages, anything that's been on your mind, go ahead. I'll take your questions. I also have my own questions, so I'll probably, stop by Data 101 really quick. and then, yeah. So I'll be back there at the table.
Awesome. Okay, education. Josh, you running that one?
Yeah, okay, so we've got a couple projects kind of in progress. One of them is this long-term look at the school enrollment process, especially for high schools, and different types of schools and how to apply and how to make that easier. We've also been starting to look at procurement in terms of how to make when like RFPs and things like that become available, how to connect that more to like the school levels, how to make schools aware of stuff and how to make parents and schools aware of things that might affect them, like when the process is starting instead of at the day of the board vote or after that. And also, since we have CPS people here, I think it'd be awesome if someone can stick around, maybe we can have a conversation about how Hacknight and civic technology can fit into what CPS is doing long term.
Cool. Awesome. Environment, Scott, what you got?
Hi, Scott here again. So on the environment, we're interested in any issues having to do with urban sustainability. For the last several weeks, we've been talking a lot about water, and we actually have a website now. And so if you're interested in maybe providing some content for that, we also have some data APIs if you're interested in doing some visualizations. And then I want to add beach closings. So if you want to pretty much manually collect that data, help me out if you're non-technical but you're interested in beach closings. The other project we're working on is recycling.
I don't know if Claire's here today.
Okay, what about that?
Hey, we are working on an app that collects. So the city provides recycling services to multi-unit buildings up to 4 units, I believe. Larger than that, it's up to the landlord to contract with a private recycling company. There is theoretically a penalty if they do not, but it's not really enforced. So we are creating an application where people can report that their building does not have recycling. So, so we're working to gather that and take that data to the city, I believe, and work on next steps for how to make that more of an action item.
I think you just won someone over.
Yeah, great. We'll be, as you walk out toward the kitchen, turn right.
Awesome, cool. Great, moving on to social service delivery. Rose.
Hey everybody. So we've been working on Emerleaf, and so that's the app that we sort of classmates from the start of the have been building for about a month and a half now. So we've been doing a lot of really great work to integrate of the Purple Binder API. For today, we're going to be finalizing the city's cash assistance program called TANF, as well as Medicare for those who are elderly and in need of healthcare assistance. And also, I'm hoping to at least have just a little time to just revise and review letters of interest that we are also going to be deploying to try and make this a little more sustainable. So if you've ever written a letter of interest, you know how to
ask for money.
Please visit us and chat with us. Thanks.
Awesome. And then finally, pension reform.
Yes, so the state of Illinois has got itself in quite an interesting situation with its pensions, where they have not been funding them properly, and so there's a big black hole, financial black hole. So there are a number of proposals out there to try to fix it. They are rather mysterious and opaque. We're working on an application to try and explain different proposals, what they might mean to pensioners, what they might mean for taxpayers. And so we have some JavaScript code that we have been working on, trying to come up with some use cases and get through there. One of the things we stumbled upon last week was the mortality rate tables. And so actually I'm thinking we might be able to whip together a quick app that will tell you how much longer you've got.
Excellent. So, like I said, does anybody, of all the things we listed, does anybody have a group they want to start? Yes.
Well, we already started.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's the weird paper, Machine Learning 101, whatever it is. Today
We have
we're going to be
another
talking
101.
about 90 phase. So if you're big into that, or if you don't know what it is, come and see me. I think we're going to try to find something with a whiteboard, so maybe back there. But if we can't, then just look for me like out by the tables where everyone else is.
Cool.
Really short.
So you're thinking every week you're going to do like a different machine learning topic? Is that the idea?
Statistical analysis, machine learning, stuff like that. So next week it may be linear regression, very basic linear regression stuff.
All right.
So that we can all learn the statistics before we jump into Python.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll throw another 101 up on the board. Anybody else want to start a group?
Yeah, actually, I had a question. Do we have anyone who's worked on like legislative data or representing like current legislative?
Like city council data?
I'm not like state level.
State level?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody's worked on state level legislative data. Does anybody know? Do they publish that data? There's like bills that get published.
No, I mean,
but
yeah, the legislative.
right, yeah, David does.
It's on state legislative website. Right, but is there like, I mean, are there Is there anyone working on like an app related to like collating that data or anything?
Sunlight Foundation, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on a project called Councilmatic that does that for the municipal level, for city council here in Chicago, and there's another one in Philadelphia. So I mean, so there's apps like on that level, but I'm not sure about the state level. Is Open States supposed to do that?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
doesn't
an
Open States do
There's an
that?
API called Open States.
Yeah.
That actually does a lot of that.
Yeah.
It may not have all the stuff you're looking for, but it would be a decent start.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again to our presenters. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for coming. Good job. That was awesome. Thank you. Did you get some good feedback?